So hands up if you've ever used OkCupid. Let's honesty check for just a second. Hands up if you've ever used OkCupid as an apartment finding service. Less so. The worst 3 months of my life start with me calling the last number in my phone. I have couch surfed my way through my feed on OkCupid, and now I am calling ex-girlfriends, which is a shameful, shameful way to spend an evening. I'm on the phone with Cindy. Cindy and me had a tumultuous love affair. We lived at her mom's for a little bit. There was a lot of cocaine. It didn't go great. And we had left when I couldn't do any more cocaine. I had really worn myself out. And I'm on the phone with Cindy, and I'm telling her that I love her. I'm a different guy now. Things are going to be, hey, no more drugs. I'm lying. I'm going to do more drugs. But I'm telling her this because I really need a place to stay. She's the last person. And Cindy had broken up with me ultimately to join the circus. Not as a performer. That would have been nice. She sold snow cones at the Biggie. It was a thing. It was a thing in her life. It was a place. And I tell her these heartfelt words, and Cindy laughs and hangs up, which was the appropriate response to what I was saying. And so I walk into Forest Park. If you've ever just become homeless, you learn that finding a spot to sleep is just kind of like looking for an apartment. All the good ones are gone. And so I walk through Forest Park, and every picnic table and every bench has a person on it or a person next to it who clearly is not looking for a neighbor. And I keep walking. And if you walk through Forest Park long enough, you end up at a duck pond. And I thought, well, there's nobody here at the duck pond. This seems like a wonderful place to be. I've hit the mother lode. And so I lay my head down, and I close my eyes, and I think when I was a kid, my mom used to have duck knickknacks, and maybe this is good luck. A couple duck facts for you real quick. Ducks fucking suck. All of them everywhere. They shouldn't exist. They're shit animals. They're bad. They defecate in the water they drink. No animal that does that should live. They're also, trivia fact, nocturnal, which means that they quack all night, every night, and I'm slowly becoming insane. 90 days after this duck adventure had dragged on, I was at a 12-step meeting. I don't think I'm allowed to say the name technically. I think the second part of the name says them. Anyway, so I'm at a 12-step meeting, and I'm telling my hard luck story to a bunch of other people who have pretty bad hard luck stories, so it's not really helping. And this very strange woman appears. She is in, I don't know what you call it. I don't know what white people call it. It was like a hippie moo-moo. Is like, she's in Birkenstocks. She's not from where I'm from. She has a belt on with a Walkman attached to it. No pants, just a floating belt for her Walkman. Giant headphones. And she smells like the shittiest weed I have ever smelled. And that is definitely not something you're allowed to do before this meeting. And she hears my story, and she says, hey, I got a place you can stay. And I think, this is how unsolved mysteries start. This is how you never get out of jail. So, but I'm out of options, and if I see another duck, I'm going to kill myself. So I say, you know what? I'll go to Jen's house. And Jen's house is this tiny little one-bedroom apartment. And Jen does something for me that's really magical. She doesn't make me do any of the things I'd have to do when I was homeless. Quick aside again. Being homeless for me was like making a list of all the things you won't do and then just checking them off every day. The kind of mundane horror of that. My hands have done things that haunt me. When I sleep, I'm still homeless. But I wasn't homeless anymore. I'm at Jen's. And Jen smokes shitty weed all day and listens to Phish all day. And sometimes just disappears. Jen disappears for weeks. I don't know where Jen is. Sometimes Jen's daughter shows up. I have 3/4 custody of Jen's daughter. I'm raising this kid. This is a real relationship. Jen loves me, though. Jen loves me in a way that I've never felt in my life. She is honest in her love for me. She tells me things are going to be okay, and then she tells me that's a lie. It's an honesty you don't get from many folks. Sometimes I wake up and Jen's in my bed, and it's not even a sexual thing. Jen just smokes really shitty weed, and sometimes they spray it with roach stuff, and you just wake up where you wake up. So I'm at Jen's for 6 months, and I'm a Holyoke boy. Glad to have you all here. I wouldn't clap, because the second part of this is yeah. And like a lot of Holyoke boys, you know, I have a first date with a girl. It goes so well, we go pick up my stuff. I move in right up the street, right up the way at Lyman Terrace. I move in with this girl. And when I'm leaving Jen, she goes, I'll leave the bed out for you for a little bit, which is a reasonable decision for her to make. And I move in with this woman, and whatever. A year later, 12 years ago, 2 days ago, my daughter Valencia, Beatrice Bossy Miller, is born. And I didn't even know I was capable of doing anything good. I didn't know that there was anything like that in me. And I'm holding this little person, right? I cut her umbilical cord. Who lets me do that? Jen let me watch her kid, but Jen wouldn't let anybody watch her kid. It wasn't a high bar. And I hold this baby, and I think, I know what I need to do. And so 2 weeks after she's born, she's 42 weeks, so she's basically born like 3 months old. She's big, giant Miller head. It was a C-section. It was awful. Don't look over the tent. You'll die. It's bad. So I take her to Forest Park, and I take her to the duck pond, and I hold this thing that's the best thing I ever did. The best thing I ever did. And I look out, and there's these ducks flying, and I think, fuck you, ducks. Fuck you, and I hope you all die. I did something good. And then I take that baby to Jen's house, and Jen is high, because Jen's high. Jen likes to be high. And she's sitting on her couch, and I hand her my baby, and she tells my daughter that it's going to be okay. And I think she's probably lying at that point, because if you haven't caught the vibe, there was no reason to think that things were going to be okay. But it was the first time where I kind of believed that maybe it would be okay. And she hands me my baby back, and I look at her, and I think, I'm going to figure out how to be the type of person where you don't ever have to worry about living next to the duck pond. And my life has been a series of just trying to be okay enough to help somebody else not have to end up at the duck pond. And every year, on my daughter's birthday, we'll do it next weekend in New York where she lives with her mom. We go for a car ride. We listen to Phish. It sucks, I'm sorry. If you like Phish, they're a terrible band. It goes on and on, ad infinitum. It goes nowhere. There's solos right after a solo. It's musically disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. But we'll listen to Phish, and I'll tell her about the duck pond and why ducks are fucking awful animals, and they should all be exterminated. Thank you for having me.